G'day guys, Matt here from Not in the Manual. Today I've got a video here for you for Tesla software update 2022.24.6. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is a pretty significant update, so I thought it was worthy of a review. There are a couple of changes that I feel are important and I think probably need some explaining. Possibly for some of you guys who've got newer cars, it's not going to be as big a difference. I think the blind spot camera, fixing that issue is quite major. That's something that's been bugging me since it came out before Christmas. And the switch over to Tesla Vision only. For my car is a 2021 model, so it's got the radar as well as vision. So the radar is basically switched off now and not used. And it's just Tesla Vision for autopilot. So we'll look at that. So for this review, it's going to be in a couple of parts. I'll firstly go through the screen. We'll talk about the update. We'll talk about the release notes. I'll go through some of the changes, some of the published changes, and some of the changes that are unpublished, undocumented changes in the background. And then we'll go for a drive and just have a look at these changes and how they're going to affect your driving. And yeah, I also like doing these little software update reviews because it gives me a chance to just have a chat with you as well. And I'd like to be getting a lot more videos made, but it's just a time thing. Editing is still really time consuming for me. It's something that was new for me, video editing. So I've been having to have a steep learning curve with it, but it is time consuming. I'm struggling to make the time that it needs. These simple little software update reviews like this are quite simple edits. There's nothing too complicated. They don't take too long to get done. And yeah, nice and easy. But some of the more complicated ones, I'm trying to get my headlight video done. I've got the headlight apart and I'm just working out the best way of filming the rest of that video to make sure that, I do a pretty good job with it. So things like that where I need to structure how the video is going to be done and then has a bit of a complicated edit, they're going to take me a bit longer to get through. I've also got reviews. I want to sort of do a review having this car for a year. I think I want to talk about some of the useless accessories I've bought and then some of the great accessories I've bought and give my thoughts on that. And yeah, just do a review on, so charging accessories as well. I might do a separate video on that, on charging and where that all sits with me. But anyway, let's get into these release notes for this software update, and then we'll go ahead and do the drive. Okay, let's start by going into the settings menu, and we will look at the software notes, release notes. So go into here, click on release notes. Okay, once they're loaded, we can see here the release notes for 2022-24.6. And one thing I want to note is something that Tesla have snuck in here is this little update here, Tesla Vision update. So it says here your vehicle is now running Tesla Vision. So if you didn't look back at these notes and just looked at the release notes that show up when you jump back in the car after the software update, you would have missed this. And this is showing that my car now doesn't use the radar at the front of the car. It's now vision only for autopilot and for all the safety functions of the car as well. And from what I hear, there's sort of mixed feelings on that. So we'll talk about that during the drive as well. We'll look at how it performs. We'll see if there's any improvements. Some people say that there's some improvements in autopilot, in the braking and things. So yeah, we'll see. I'm open to see it. I know there's some negative things about the driving at night with the auto high beams. I hear that's not as good, but I don't do a lot of night driving with high beams. So anyway, that's not concerning me too much at the moment. I'm more concerned about how autopilot functions. So as long as that works okay, I'm happy. So just thought I'd mention that. So first up, we've got Tesla profiles. So now what happens is you've got your Tesla profile can now be synced. All your seating preferences, your autopilot preferences, driving, climate control, navigation, media and data sharing preferences, you can now share across different vehicles using your Tesla cloud. It's like a cloud profile. And you can use that across your different vehicles that use the same Tesla account. And potentially hire companies, if they allow you to log in using your own account and adding the vehicle, then you can load your profiles into that car. So that would be pretty cool. So the next big thing, which is my favorite feature of this update, is the blind spot camera. So you can now move that away from that horrible position down here where it blocked your text messages, it blocked navigation, it blocked warnings, it blocked you being able to adjust your wipers, it blocked a lot of things. Anything that had a notification that comes up at the bottom here would be blocked while you were indicating. So if you're sitting at a set of lights and you want to adjust your wipers, well, you couldn't. You had to get rid of the blind spot camera first. So that's now been improved. So we'll look at that. So basically, yeah, we can just indicate here. So you can see the blind spot camera there. I've already moved it up here. I've been having a play around with it. So if you touch your finger on, you can move it to one of these 3 different positions. And you can see there, they've now made that, they've improved that so that all the functions around here are working well with that, and they move out of the way. So I've actually been keeping it here in this position because I find that's quite good, having it next to the speed. And your navigation prompts can actually come up here at the top, and they come up here, so you're not blocking them. The indicators have now been moved up to the top here. So you can see here, and we can move that across. I've found having it over here is good, but it can sort of block some of the navigation data. Even though the prompts for navigation come up over here, you'll still lose some of that trip information, like time to destination and things. So it's still, I think they've still got some kinks to work out in it. So I'm going to leave it here for now, and driving it moves all the visualizations down to there as well. So it creates space for that. I'm liking that position. I'm liking that position now. It's quite good. So that was quite a good fix there. Now, the next thing on this update, or stop that indicator. The next thing with this update is traffic along the route. So we'll have a look at that during the drive, and you will see that although it did show traffic along the route before, it was more of a side thing, like your normal Google Maps thing, just at the edge of the road. It was a thin line. I thought it was good enough, but it's now a bit more prominent. So the traffic shows up a lot more prominent. Your route line is a bit thicker, and also the traffic along the route lines are thicker. So that actually works quite well, and does make it stand out a bit more. Driver profiles. So this is actually more to do with your navigation history and your favorites. They'll now be saved to your driver profile. So you could potentially have different, well, you can have different favorites for the different driver profiles. So I'll just show you here the profiles. So if you click on the profile up there, you can now see that go into driver profile settings. You can see here now that you have like a new driver profile. When this first came up, it just had my email address there, but it still has my old profile that I had in the car anyway. But what it allows you to do is to copy your profiles. When you first set this up, it asks you if what driver you want to copy the profile to, the cloud profile here. And so I've set that up and linked it with the map profile that I had in this car anyway. And that's all set up. And so that could potentially be used in other cars. So that's all there. Now, I've told you about a couple of the undocumented changes, so the navigation guidance comes up here as well, and the indicators have shifted to the top here to make them visible, you know, with the blind spot camera. Everything sort of shuffles around here to make room for that. That's quite good. But one of the other undocumented changes is if we go to service and look at our tyre pressures. So you can see here with the tyre pressures, we've got the last known tyre pressure when the car stopped. So normally, before this update, the wheels would have to be in motion for you to see a tyre pressure. So now, as a bit of a handy reference as well, you've got the front and the rear recommended cold tyre pressures as well. You can see there, 2.9 bar, I'm spot on with all my tyre pressures. So this allows you just to have a quick look. You don't have to sort of go and move the car to be able to see the tyre pressures. You can just have a quick look, and I think that's a no-brainer. That's a much better way of having it. And that also has also changed, so you can now view that remotely in your app. I'll just show you in the app. Okay, so under controls in the app now, you've now got the tyre pressure symbol up the top corner here. So it shows you the recommended and then shows you each tyre pressure here. So I think that's quite a good little adjustment. I don't know why they didn't document that and show it in the release notes. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, the other thing I noticed here, there's managed drivers. I think that was there with the previous update, but it's now all showing up there. And I think I've covered everything here. I couldn't find any other things here. Pedals and steering, you know, we still don't have that regen brake, the brake assist, so when the battery's cold and your regen's dialed back, we don't have that setting here yet. I'm not sure if anyone else has got that around the world. I couldn't see any other changes here, anything else to note. So actually, one extra thing that I didn't show you, another hidden undocumented change, is in arcade. This doesn't really matter much for me at all. Looking at the games, you seem to now just be able to uninstall every game if you wanted to make hard drive space in the car. Except for Sonic the Hedgehog. You're not able to delete that. Looks like most other games you can delete. Possibly this is a precursor to the whole Steam software that's rumoured to be coming into the cars, where you have the Steam games in that Steam platform. And so possibly this is making space for that. I don't see, unless you've got the Tidal account, the music streaming service where you can download music to the car, I don't see a need to be uninstalling games. There's a few games I probably wouldn't mind uninstalling that I don't use, but there's no point unless you need that hard drive space. So look, that's just another undocumented change there, and yeah, we'll go to the drive. All right, guys, had to shoot this again today. Had some issues with the camera yesterday with the colour. I accidentally put it into some funny colour mode and it just looked ridiculous. The sky was super bright blue, and tried fixing it, ended up a little bit purple. I just couldn't correct the colour at all without making it look pretty weird. It's quite difficult to watch. So anyway, this is just the driving review of the software update 2022 24.6. You can see the blind spot camera here now. After driving it for a day yesterday with this update, I prefer to have the camera here. Your nav points come up here. If you have anything coming up here, it shifts the nav instructions across to here. And any of your warning messages are here. It shrinks up the visualizations to accommodate it. And it's quite good because you're looking at your speed here anyway, and it's right next to it. So the other option is over here, or down here, I find, yeah, just having it here is that little bit better. So we're going to use, yeah, sometimes it does that when I'm not even drifting out of the lane, but anyway. So we'll use the autopilot here today see how it goes with the Tesla Vision in bumper to bumper traffic. So we'll put autopilot on, but maybe try and put it on to the speed limit. And you can see there it's put auto high beam on straight away as soon as I engaged autopilot. So at night time that's going to be an issue. You need to just turn it off by pushing the stalk forward, and that'll be each time you activate autopilot. So if you have enhanced autopilot, it doesn't matter because you can do an auto lane change like this and not disengage autopilot. We'll get back over into this lane. So yeah, you can see there the auto lane changes aren't really affected much by this Tesla Vision. We'll see how it goes further down when we're sitting in traffic. We'll try a couple of lane changes there. Yeah, it feels pretty good. You can see the traffic en route is now more pronounced. You can see those, you know, it used to show traffic, but it would show these tiny little thin lines at the edge. I thought it was still good enough, but these lines do make it stand out a bit more. So, you know, see, look, the Vision handled that car coming into the lane without an indicator. Now, that's one thing I wanted to say. People have been asking me if the car can see the indicator. I think it's more the motion of the car. I don't see the car reacting to indicators at all. It only reacts when that car attempts to come into your lane. So I think it sees the movement of that car coming into the lane, and that's what prompts the car to slow down and let that merging car in. I don't think it's anything to do with the indicator. So the braking was a bit harsh then, but I have noticed that it is more consistent. Yeah, it's a little bit more consistent now with the Vision only. So I'd say possibly the radar gave a bit of a conflicting thing with the Vision. Yeah, that braking is pretty harsh. So now you get the follow distance goes all the way up to 7 and then down to 2. You can no longer do the one car length follow distance. I found that to be a little bit too close sometimes anyway, and it would be braking pretty late and harsh. I think the issue with the radar is reading off some cars that are a particular shape. I think it's probably really difficult for the car to rely solely on radar. My only concern dropping the radar is for that emergency braking side of things, but I think it's you know, a lot of cars have Vision only for those emergency systems. Yeah, a bit of a phantom brake then. I think I thought that car was going to go. So yeah, that would be my only concern, but yeah, we'll see. I occasionally get an emergency braking alert driving down back streets when there's a parked car and I've got cars coming the other way and it's quite a narrow street. Sometimes it thinks you're pulling over there to let a car through the narrow gap, and it will give you the emergency braking warning. So it has felt like it's been quite sensitive in the past 6 months, but we'll see if going to Vision only corrects that, makes that any better. And yeah, we'll see how it handles that. So I didn't notice anything yesterday. I didn't have any, you know, unpredicted emergency braking. So the autopilot did feel a lot smooth yesterday. See, lot smoother. Today it's braking a bit harsh, but it could just be this truck in front of me. It could be finding it very difficult to work out the distance or something vision-wise. And being early in the morning, you've got the sun sitting down quite low, and there's a lot of shadows across the road and the vehicles. But here you can clearly see those thickened up route lines, and the traffic along the route, you can see, is thickened up there. That's looking a lot better. I haven't been able to see any differences in the visualizations, and yeah, it was quite good, and I'm just really impressed with the blind spot camera now being where it is. That's changed my life. It's more usable now. I didn't really explain in the video last night, but your hand was always in the way of it down here, and it used to block all these things like text messages, and I mean, you're not supposed to be looking down at that anyway, but little things like, you know, the wipers, it would block that. You couldn't adjust your wipers while you had your indicators on. So you could just swipe the blind spot camera out of the way, but you know, you want to minimize your time with your eyes off the road. And yeah, I think having that blind spot camera up there next to the speed, I've found, is the more comfortable spot. So yeah, the car's doing a bit of harsh braking here. I think I'm probably annoying the car behind me. But that's how it was before the Vision update anyway. It is a bit smoother on the takeoffs, so there isn't a huge delay like I had with the radar. So overall, it does feel a little bit smoother with the autopilot. So I'm not really seeing any negatives at the moment to the Vision only. I was had a bit mixed feelings with Tesla doing that. I guess we get used to the way things are. My car before this had the radar in the front of the car for doing the traffic aware cruise control, and yeah, it was sort of the same. It was a little bit slow to react sometimes, and a little bit harsh braking with its traffic aware cruise control. But the car behind me is sitting, you can see there, it broke pretty hard because that car was coming into my lane. The car behind me really isn't leaving enough space. So sometimes using autopilot in these situations just doesn't feel comfortable. But it's mainly to do with how the people around you are driving, I find, so not so much how I'm driving. Or, sorry, how the car's driving. So here we go, we'll see how it pulls up behind these stopped cars. So you can see there it starts reacting a bit further back. It never used to do that with the radar. It'd always wait till last minute and then it'd jump on the brakes, and it'd be quite harsh. So I've just found it's a little bit more pleasant in that regard. So yeah, I'll flick those auto high beams off again. Yeah, I found it's a little bit more pleasant for those situations. So I was behind that truck over there before and it was braking really harsh. Now I'm behind this car, the braking seems to be a bit more controlled. So this is quite a large intersection here, and the car does it no problem, quite smooth. This is one of the things I was hoping would improve, is this just going a little bit closer to the cars in front when you stop. This can really annoy people behind you. I know the car is trying to leave enough room there for you to get around if the car in front breaks down, or if there's going to be a rear collision, it gives the car room to jump forward to minimise that impact, as we've seen on some of the autopilot YouTube videos. Now, as a part of this update, it says that the car felt the car creep forward, whether it saw the green light there. So as a part of this update, it says that it's now, you know, Tesla Vision is connected to the neural network. So I guess that's where the cars are learning from how you drive, and then applying that, or looking at where you intervene and take over from autopilot. And I think it's collecting data to help the cars improve how they react to different situations. And I think that's how Tesla have improved the safety rating of the car, by using autopilot to preempt an accident. So those unlucky people that have had accidents have actually contributed to making the cars safer. Places like this where there's a crest, The car always used to struggle, so it's braking now because it can't see far enough in front, so it slows down just to be cautious. I wouldn't class that as phantom braking. I'd class that as the car being careful. So it's going quite a bit fast down here. Okay, it handled that quite well, that stopping. I thought that was quite good. That car changing out, sometimes it used to accelerate a little bit and then jump on the brakes. So it handled that situation quite well. It seems to be reacting to those situations a bit faster, which is quite good. Okay, you can see there it just tried to change into that lane. I had to take over. So I don't think it's handling the road markings much better. So this truck got in front of me again and the car started braking harshly again. So I think the car is struggling. I know it's not using the radar anymore, but maybe something with the vision of this truck is it's causing the car some issues. Okay guys, we might just finish up here. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with the Tesla Vision. For autopilot, I think it's a lot better with the braking. Definitely coming up on stop traffic. I think it's pretty good. It's good at keeping the car within the lane. I don't think it's it's still in certain scenarios it still can't cope, but the radar system didn't cope with that before, mainly to do with the line markings on the road. But definitely I've been pretty impressed with the braking performance in autopilot. I think it's a lot smoother, not as jerky. Pretty happy with that. But we might let me know guys if you want me to do a review on the auto high beams. So we've got to keep turning them off. Yeah, but I can do a review on that. But yeah, pretty impressed. So you can see here, if something's blocking the nav, you get your nav things here. I think having everything up the top of that screen in your nice line of sight where you still get a vision of the road is perfect. Tesla have done a great job putting all the nav updates up there. The guidance, you can see there, it's all pretty clear, nice and easy to see there next to the speed. That's fantastic. The blind spot camera position change, no idea how much happier I am with that. You can see there, look at that. I can see it now with my hand on the wheel. Good job. Just a very long time coming. I would have thought that would have been a nice easy fix for Tesla, but anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this review. Hopefully you guys have all got this software by now. If not, hopefully you get it soon. It's a good improvement. Yeah, just for the blind spot camera. I mean, look at that. I'm still really impressed. So indicator up the top, yeah, that's all great. And it shifts all the visualizations down here. Yeah, that's all looking pretty good. And then you can still even adjust your wipers while all that's there and see everything in place. So pretty cool. All right, guys, I'll leave it there. I'm almost at work. So yeah, have a good day and I'll talk to you soon.